It is now a little after 5 o'clock, and we would like to begin the workshop for the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for November the 29th, 2012. We will begin with Citizens Forum, and tonight we have Ms. Susie Green and Jeremy Sargent.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the City Council of Laverne. My name is Jeremy Sargent, and I manage Wine and Spirits Unlimited on Waldron Road. We have come before you tonight in regards to the ordinance number 2002-22, Section 8-108, Paragraph 2, that states, domicile, no person, member of a firm, corporation, partnership, or association shall own or operate a retail store for the sale of alcoholic beverages, as herein defined, if he shall not have been a person domiciled for the last 2 years in the corporate city limits of the city of Laverne. And in the case of a corporation, firm, association, or partnership, this requirement as to domicile shall apply to all of its officers, and this requirement as to domicile shall apply to all the partners of a partnership. We have maintained our business despite the numerous stumbling blocks set before us over the past 3 years with road construction on Waldron Road, coupled with the added competition from Smyrna taking over 50% of our business away. Business entities closing around Interchange City and a bad overall economy have also taken their toll on our store. In short, we are barely hanging on and are on the approach of having to close our business due to the lack of customer support and the continued construction on Waldron Road. Rather than have our store close and effectively take on average $70,000 to $75,000 per year, and for comparison to $75,695 in 2011 in sales tax revenue we supply the city of Laverne, we are seeking for this council to repeal the ordinance that requires a 2-year residency for ownership of a liquor store. To the best of our knowledge, the only businesses in Laverne required to have a 2-year residency for anyone associated with the ownership of the store is the retail liquor store. Smyrna at first wanted to include a similar ordinance but decided against it to open up the possibility of outside entities to open their stores in Smyrna. These organizations had the financial backing to launch numerous successful liquor stores in the town of Smyrna. By changing this ordinance, it opens up the possibility to sell our store to interests outside of the city limits of Laverne, with another proprietor of Wine and Spirits Unlimited that is willing to keep the store open and profitable by infusing more inventory and advertising. This will in turn make more money for the city of Laverne in ways of sales and tax revenue. The current situation would force us to close shop within the next 60 days. Please consider revising the 2-year residency ordinance to keep a business in Laverne from closing permanently. And please consider the revenue stream and added retail the city of Laverne so desperately needs. Thank you for your time and attention, and we hope you will make a positive decision to repeal the residency requirement for liquor stores in Laverne. Sincerely, Susan Green, owner, Wine and Spirits Unlimited, and Jeremy Sargent, manager, Wine and Spirits Unlimited. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Our meeting will be Tuesday, December the 4th. I'll have the prayer and the pledge of allegiance will be by you, Alderman Green. Please read over the minutes prior to the meeting. Now, next, I'm saying that we have a presentation from Read to Succeed. You did. You're here. Miss Laura Beth Kane, if you'd like to come up.
Good evening to all of you. Thank you for allowing me some time here. I'm here today on behalf of Read to Succeed, Rutherford County's literacy organization. This year I am the co-chair for the One Book Committee, which, as you may know, is an initiative of Read to Succeed to choose a book to promote in the entire county for the year to encourage reading among adults as well as children. This year, our choice is New York Times bestseller, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, and I have a copy to present to the council this evening. This story, I'll hold up a copy here. The story is told from the perspective of 16-year-old Hazel Grace, in a voice one reviewer calls compulsively readable. It's a story about love, legacy, and about teens who have cancer. Now, you may think you don't want to read it, but give Hazel Grace a chance and you'll be laughing and crying and celebrating every breath that she takes and you take, even when it hurts. The novel tackles big subjects, life, death, and love, with a raw honesty that makes it an enlightening read. The book follows the evolving relationship between Hazel and one of her friends in a cancer support group as they both face the universal questions of life, death, and meaning, and learn to draw strength from their families, friends, and, of course, books. This year, each year, whenever One Book chooses a read for the community, we choose a nonprofit to partner with in order to bring more meaning to the reading experience. And this year, we've chosen the nonprofit organization Clinton's Club, which is an umbrella organization that unites efforts to raise awareness of childhood cancer and provide support for families with affected members. We are honored to partner also with the group Live for Tay, which many of you may have heard of, and the Tay Filaremo family, whose 16-year-old daughter, Tay Filaremo, touched so many lives in Rutherford County this year. So the Washington Post calls The Fault in Our Stars a tough, touching Valentine to the human spirit. Our selection committee agreed and felt the book speaks powerfully to the specific challenges of families who have children affected by cancer, and gives a great perspective for those of us who can walk with them in their journey. So we're excited about our choice this year, and we would like to present a copy to the committee here, and invite you to join with us in this literacy initiative. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Who would like to read the book?
I will.
All
You wanna
right.
start? You have readers up here now.
Great.
Then we'll pass.
You start. Yep. Thank you
Who
so much.
else
You can
wanted to
start.
read it?
Thank you, and yes. Chris is having to read children's books now. Oh, we always enjoy reading those books. All right, next we'll begin with our old business, which is second reading, ordinance 2012-26, an ordinance to amend Title 3, Chapter 3, Section 3-310 of the Laverne Municipal Code regarding the city litigation tax. Again, Bruce, you want to refresh everyone's memory?
Mayor, this is the ordinance that amends this section at the request of our auditors. Right now, this section pretty much just earmarks the funds that are raised by this litigation tax to go towards the communication equipment for the emergency services. All of the funds that are generated by this litigation tax are not really enough to even cover that payment, so we're having to pay the remainder out of the general fund, which is where these funds go to begin with. So we're not really changing anything. All of the money's still going in general fund and still will be used to pay for those, but the auditors felt that we ought to make this change, so that's why we're here.
And we know how they like to, everything nice and neat and clean. Do we have any questions or comments? Okay. We'll move on to the consent agenda items. A, approve recommendations for city bids and purchases. Number 1, repair of an 8-inch water line near Pizza Hut. Jerry, you want to give us a little background on that?
Yeah, the 8-inch water line, the water main going down Murfreesboro Road, right near Pizza Hut. We have a major leak going on. It is old cast iron water main. It is roughly 12 foot deep, so it's a deep one. I felt that it would be in our best interest to have a private contractor with heavier equipment and more experience get in here and get it fixed. It's going to require us to, like, the city hall is going to be without water while we do this. Pizza Hut will be, some of the other businesses. But this contractor has agreed to come in 9 o'clock at night, work through the night to get this done. So, conservative estimate, we feel it's leaking 2 to 4 million gallons a month. Okay, so we need to get it. Yeah, it's a lot of water. So that's where we got the 3 quotes, and Jacobs Construction out of Murfreesboro was the low bidder. I've talked to Jake, and he's fine at 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. He says, Jerry, I'll come in at midnight on Christmas Eve if you want me to. So it's a great company.
And this is a leak that we found, and it's been there for quite some time.
CUD and I felt that we found this leak and when they came down in August.
So we
We need
got,
it.
it's got to get fixed. Absolutely. Any questions? Questions? Okey-doke. Repair of concrete driveways, I believe, Mr. Russell, you have that one, or Jerry?
Jerry's.
Okay. You're gonna pass the buck on that one.
I've got some prices on it to get the driveways repaired. We had 2 repaired, I think, a month or so ago through Marcor. And to add these on, it would have went over my 5,000, and we just need to get approved for up to 10,000. And I think it's gonna cost like less than 3,000 to get these 2 done. So I talked to Bruce, and we talked to, get it approved up to 10,000. And if it goes over that, we have to come back to the board.
And also, let's reiterate the fact that these are driveways that we had to tear up in order to fix,
One was a water line, one was a sewer line.
yes, so, a utility, so it is our responsibility to,
But that will be charged to the water department and sewer department.
okay. Any questions? All right. Next, we'll be looking at an approval of the meeting schedule for 2013. Obviously, we can't all take a quick look at this tonight, but please look over this before our meeting on Tuesday to make sure there's no conflicts in anything.
And if there is, just let me know, and we can make those changes. Next year is a pretty easy year as far as scheduling, because we don't have any elections to deal with or anything like that. I think the biggest changes that we'll have, of course, August, we have the National Night Out. So there is a move of the regular meeting there. Also, when you go down to December, because of the Christmas holidays, it's a big mess. So basically what and November's actually a change too, because of Thanksgiving the week before. We're putting the workshop on the first Tuesday and the meeting on the first Thursday, back to back like that. And then if you go down to around Christmas, normally on the 31st of December, we would have had a Board of Zoning Appeals and Planning Commission, but obviously we're not going to be able to have a meeting on New Year's Eve, so we can't move it back to Christmas because that's the week before. So basically, we talked with Kristen and Kyle, and we've talked about basically canceling the December meetings for Board of Zoning Appeals and Planning Commission. Now, if we have any items that come up, we'll look to have a special meeting to cover those items. But then the January, of course, of next year, which we'll talk about next December, we're going to have to move those regular meeting and the workshop for that time as well. So those are really the biggest changes in this whole schedule.
Okay.
Everything is pretty much the standard monthly dates for all of these meetings.
And also, once we vote on this, we do put this on the website.
Right.
So it'll be there from the beginning of the year through the entire year. So.
And it will be advertised in the newspaper, and any changes that we make to the schedule will be advertised in the newspaper. So just standard procedure.
All right. Any questions? Next, number 6, we have motion to appoint or remove board members. The Housing Authority. You've not heard back from Mr. Hewitt?
I've tried to call Mr. Hewitt, I've even sent him an email. As of yet, I've not heard back from him. We have started advertising this on Channel 3, but I don't have any other applications. If I don't hear from him by next Tuesday, or if we don't have any other applications, I'll take this off of the agenda.
Okay, wonderful. Okay. The Local Emergency Planning Committee. We will be removing Mr. Skinner, Mr. Brooks, and the recommendation for Mr. Russell and Mr. Zimlow to be appointed to these positions. Next, we have Parks and Recreation. We do have one vacant position. Mr. No, due to his work, did have to resign from this committee. We do have 3 applicants, Brandy Jackson, Ken Cowan, and Jason Cole. Now, this is an FYI. This won't be until December.
January meeting.
January meeting. Mr. Dana Blair's position. So we'll contact Dana to make sure he wants to stay on. Next will be the Greenway. Is that Hellwagon? Hellwagon? Am I saying that correctly?
Sarah Howwagon, I'm guessing.
Hellwagon. Okay. Then we have the Historical Preservation. Mr. Mann's position. All of these, Bruce will be contacting. The Library Board, the terms for Ms. Donna and Alderman Green will expire December 31st, so we'll con you to be back on that.
Okay.
All right. Also, for January, the terms for the Emergency Management Agency, Tim Hooker, the Ambulance Service, Price Justice, Environmental Specialist, Joe Lalo, am I saying that correct? Laura Davidson, Box 100, and Brian Toll for Red Cross. And I would presume all of those will probably stay on that. Next would be the Planning Commission. The terms for Mr. Coates and Connie Hayes will expire in December, which will be for the January meeting. And we'll see if these two would like to stay. They've done a real good job. Also, the terms for Mr. Tom Welch and Mary Jane Skinner will expire in the January meeting for the Stormwater Appeals Advisory Board. And we'll see if those would like to remain as well. Any questions on any of these? Okay. Y'all are quiet tonight. Number 7, Resolution 2012-16. A resolution to amend the purchasing procedures regarding the sale or disposal of surplus property.
Mayor, if you'll remember, and Board, if you'll remember last month, or actually last week, we had talked about disposing of some communication equipment, some radios, and we had asked our city attorney to give us an opinion on if we could do that according to our current regulations. He came back and said that we could not. So the best solution we have is to go back and amend our purchasing procedures and add additional regulations regarding the sale or disposal of surplus property. Most all of this language came from MTS. They had a policy on their website that I think they generated back in August of this year, so it's fairly recent. So basically went through and just kind of tweaked it to fit our needs, and basically this will give the city council the authority to either sell it at an auction if we can, if the board feels that it would be better to destroy the materials or whatever the equipment is, if it's dangerous property or something like dangerous materials or chemicals or something. The board could decide to do that, and then of course the other option is to give it to another agency if they need it. And also there's something in here as far as if the property does not sell on Gov Deals, this gives the option to basically throw it away as trash, which before we didn't have that option really. So this is just some basic policies that we've never really had in writing. But like I said, most of this did come from MTS, and Evan has reviewed it, and so we should be good to go on that.
Any questions regarding this? Any? Okay. Number 8, motion to approve or reject bids for the SCBA equipment. We do not have this. We will have this Tuesday night.
Right. We're opening the bids on Tuesday
Tuesday.
afternoon, so we'll have all of the information for Tuesday night.
Tuesday. So we don't really have anything to discuss there until Tuesday. So we will have to have some discussion Tuesday night on this matter. Number 9, discussion. Motion to approve recommendations for group medical benefit carriers. Mr. Fred.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman, basically what you have before you is the recommendation from ESP Inc., that's Bob Shoup and his group. We've gone through and looked at bidding out a couple of things. We're looking at the rewrite insurance. We're not making and recommending any changes with the carrier Cigna for a couple of reasons. One, this is our second year in Cigna. 2008, we had about a 12% increase, which was higher than the industry standard. 2009, about 9%. In 2010, we had our first full year, we had a 0.14% increase. Last year, we had a 9% decrease in claims. So the last couple of years have been good for us. Part of that has been the savings and being with the Cigna network. So we're not recommending any changes. We also utilize Phoenix, and they've got a longer name for the re-rate insurance. That's the portion where we manage claims that are catastrophic at 40,000 above, and we're recommending that we stay with the same carrier. For a couple of reasons. One, we went out to 5 companies. We didn't get firm quotes from 2 of those, so we tossed those to the side. One was out of line, and there was one, a current carrier, and a new company, HM, who we thought would do well for the re-rate insurance. But in the end, Phoenix, we should stay with them. One, because of the way they're going to process claims and the changes there. Currently, we've had some claims where at 40,000, we get reimbursed once that claim is paid in full. So if I'm ill and I've got $150,000 in claims, at 40,000 it caps and 110 comes back to the city, but not until the end of that claim, and that claim is closed out in full. What will happen next year, we'll stay with the same insurance agency, but the change administratively is that once we hit 40,000, if I have that 110,000, then they'll pay it. So the money doesn't, so it's gonna have a better effect on the money that we have in the reserves. So we don't have to wait until a claim reaches its entire life cycle to do it. So that's the big change. We recommend that we stay with Phoenix and stay with Health Cost Solution. There will be a slight administrative increase next year, but with the changes with the Patient Protection Act, we expected that, and their things are in line with that. So,
Any questions? Any questions?
I know it's a lot of heavy numbers. I don't know how else to break it down.
No.
Thank you. Do I need to stay?
Well, you might as well stay, because number 10 is discussion, the compensation study update and results.
We had hoped to have that finished actually by now, and we don't. We've got data from, we don't have any data in hand right now, but we're looking at a lot of cities, those that are comparable. Cookville is a very comparable city in size and rates and things like that. That city, we still don't have those numbers. We think it will be critical to the study. We'll have that, I'm confident that we'll have that finished by the end of December and ready to present in January. The interim city administrator has put a target on my back, and he's on me like a duck on a June bug. Same thing with the handbook. So, and we don't have handbook on this agenda because I didn't think we would do that, but it looks like I should have put it on there because we're making great strides and hopefully have a final meeting on that on Monday.
Awesome. Awesome. Any
That's it.
questions? Any? Wow.
Sweet and
I know. I think this is a first for me. So we'll start with Alderman comments. Alderman Brogan.
Yes, ma'am. I just want to thank Tanya Nell for, she finished up she was our volunteer on the county's road and school board, Laverne's representative. Thought she did a great job and just wanted to thank her.
Awesome. And I think they ended up coming up with some wonderful
Come back with the
results.
same map that, actually the last redistricting committee, so hopefully now it goes in front of the commission and it passes, and it really will be a good thing for the entire county, not just Laverne.
Very good. Alderman Walker? Got nothing?
I ain't got nothing right now.
Vice Mayor? Alderman Green?
nothing either.
Well, we don't have anything coming up this weekend that we're forgetting. I think we have the poster contest tomorrow night. We're honoring the children that won the fire poster contest. So we'll be having some fun at Station 3 tomorrow night. And I think this should be a quiet weekend. Let's hope. And I hope to see everybody back here Tuesday night. This meeting is adjourned.
What?